Welcome to another edition of DAC FP TV. I'm your host, Don Friedman, President of the Digital Assets Council of Financial Professionals. Today we have Douglas Boneparth, President of Bonafide Wealth. Douglas, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So we'll jump right into this. The first question we have is, what sort of regulatory issues should advisors be aware of when recommending digital assets to clients?
Yeah, I would be pretty much just careful about recommending versus educating, right? And what I concern myself with here is, do I have, do I have guidance from regulators as far as how I should even go about soliciting the purchase or sale of any, crypto asset, any digital asset? And unfortunately, for a firm my size with, however much resources we have, it's been a challenge to do that. So we're adopting really the educational side of things, which any advisor can do, is study up on, everything they need to know about whether it's specifically Bitcoin or decentralized finance as an entire topic, blockchain technology. There's no end to what you can actually educate yourself on, and most advisors need to be here right now, because I would argue that most advisors don't even know what's going on in this space, let alone doing a moderate dive into any of the things that I just mentioned. So when you think about your clients, your primary goal should be, educate yourself so you can educate them. Because if they're going to come to you with questions, it's on you to get them those answers. You can only say, I don't know, for so long before you actually have to do something about that. That's how you provide that value. And I can tell you from my practice, which skews younger, is 20s, 30s, and 40-year-olds, the growth in which the number of prospects and clients coming to the conversation with questions about crypto is only increased, to a multiple of what it was in just the last 4 to 5 years. And I would use that as a pretty good marker as to what the rest of the industry or profession can expect in terms of questions coming in. Now we're getting greater regulation around it just, this week from the SEC. So now is really that time, that really critical time for you to get on the ball. If it wasn't 2017 and it wasn't Bitcoin going to 65,000 earlier this year, I don't know what you're waiting for to learn more. You gotta well, this is phooey, or this doesn't relate to my clients. I think it's going to happen whether you like it or not.
Yeah, great points. The last thing you want to do is be a deer in headlights in front of your clients when they're asking you questions about
that's already happening right now for some of my colleagues, and it's never a good look.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Next question we have for you is, staying within the regulatory boundaries, how do you recommend clients get exposure to the asset class in lieu of a Bitcoin ETF?
Yeah, so even with a Bitcoin ETF, making this pretty accessible for retail investors and even investment advisors to then allocate to, we don't have that yet. So what can you do in the meantime? There's a number of ways to get direct and indirect exposure, right? And you, again, can educate on this. You can point out the difference between using exchanges like Coinbase or Gemini, which are two very popular, if not the most popular crypto exchanges out there. You can show them how these platforms work, what the pros and cons are. You can show them the safety, the security, how bank accounts get linked, talk about stable coins, whatever. It really, again, is on you to educate, how to be a directly hold or, self-custody your own digital assets. I think most people would argue that that's maybe the best way to go. Again, I think it comes down to the user and how you feel like you should be investing, which gets us into other ways of going about doing this, such as payment platforms like PayPal or Cash App. PayPal not having digital wallets, meaning you kind of get an IOU, X dollars based on what you put in Bitcoin or Ethereum. Then you go over to like Cash App, which says, you got a digital wallet here for Bitcoin. You can send it at any other digital wallet, basically, how nature intended with that. So those are other direct ways that don't necessarily involve self-custody, some that do using existing platforms that you use every day, Venmo even getting into that. So all the major payment, mobile payment applications are pretty much there. And then there's really the indirect ways where you don't want to do any of that, but you still want some kind of exposure. So clients are coming and asking about companies that deal in crypto, or hold Bitcoin on the balance sheet. You've heard of them. These are the Teslas of the world, the Twitters and Squares. You know, Jack Dorsey, pretty much a big Bitcoin fan out there, so you can expect that there. And then really the one with the most exposure is MicroStrategy and Michael Saylor, you know, collecting as much Bitcoin as humanly possible. It's like their Pokemon to him. He's got to collect them all. But you know, as it may, you got a balance sheet that's pretty much, you know, inundated with Bitcoin. You're getting pretty close to having a pure play there by investing in a public company. So that's been a way that investors have been working within the regulatory environment, either taking it upon themselves to go explore ways that they can own it using applications and exchanges, or just doing what they do in the traditional or legacy apparatus of brokerage and identifying companies that's giving them exposure. Keep in mind, there's not a lot there. There's really only the one with that much concentration. I would argue if you're investing in Tesla, you're investing in Tesla. You're not investing in Bitcoin. It just happens to have some exposure on the balance sheet there. So it's not a really far from a not even pure play way of investing there. And that's pretty much the landscape right now, shy of those securitized products. Oh, I'd be remiss to say that there aren't private placements like the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, of course, and Osprey, which will probably roll into ETFs when approved anyways. But these are like your pre-ETF apparatus here. Can't stick them in brokerage accounts per se, but you can go get a subscription to owning, you know, a piece of a trust whose underlying investment is a cryptocurrency, in this case, Bitcoin, Ethereum, stuff like that.
Great, great. Well, Douglas, thanks for your insight and thanks for being a guest on DAC FP TV.
Thanks so much.